We need curtains. And not just a regular amount of curtains, there are over 850 window panes in this building. We need 10.5-foot tall curtains on every wall in the house. We've been living here without window coverings for over 2 years now, and I don't think the neighbors can take it anymore. We've already got a kind of mix of industrial and bohemian style happening, which is another way of saying I have no idea how to decorate. So I figure we can get away with window coverings via a quirky craft project. It's not like it's going to clash with the total lack of cohesion everywhere else. I commissioned a friend of mine to sew up some curtains out of canvas drop cloths and decorate them with a kind of Rorschach test splattering of green paint. We'll see how it works, but first we need curtain rods. I made these up using 1/2-inch black iron plumbing pipe fittings. Each curtain rod has a union in the center, which will allow the curtain to be easily hung or removed after the ends are fastened to the window header. Before I install them, let's back up and take a look at the process I used to achieve this smooth, antiqued finish. I've already had these sections cut to length and threaded at the hardware store where I bought them. The hardest part of this job is going to be getting all of my parts clean enough to accept the finish that I want. Black iron pipe typically comes with a thick, oily coating, as well as some stickers, tape, and plastic caps. Because these are going to have fabric sliding on them, I really need to get down to bare metal before I do anything else. Smaller fittings and nipples often just have a light coating of oil, which comes off easily with acetone, but that's just not going to cut it here. Whatever this coating is, it puts up a good fight against solvents and abrasives, and I have a whole lot of surface area to deal with. I've made a vessel out of PVC so that I can soak the pipe in a diluted acid solution. Jasco sells 2 types of muriatic acid, which can be found at most hardware stores. I like to use this one, which is marketed as being safer and produces less fumes. First, I'm adding 1 gallon of water and then 1 gallon of acid. It's always recommended to add acid to water and not the reverse in order to reduce splashing hazard and sudden reactions. Muriatic acid is essentially a diluted hydrochloric acid, and we are just diluting it further. After removing the pipes from the acid and thoroughly rinsing them with water, they develop a superficial coat of rust. I removed this with a wire wheel on the bench grinder. They're actually shinier now than I would like, so I'm going to use a gun bluing solution to produce a thin layer of black oxide on the surface. After rinsing again, I just bring back some of the shine with a Scotch-Brite pad. Now I just need to clean my fittings and assemble all the parts. While I do this, I'm going to give you some unsolicited thoughts about using plumbing parts to make architectural features. First of all, it isn't cheap. I spent almost $300 making curtain rods for 6 windows, and that's just for my living room. If I were fabricating them from steel stock, it would have cost a fraction of that. It's also easy to overbuild things when you're using modular components that are intended for other purposes. If you're thinking it might be clever to throw a few extra elbows and a ball valve into your assembly just for fun, keep in mind that this has become so trendy as a feature that Home Depot sells a kit for making your very own industrial desk lamp out of plumbing parts. While overbuilding things can be visually striking, it's easy to miss your mark and end up with something that's overpriced and not very functional or original. That being said, building things out of plumbing parts is uniquely satisfying because you can see a complex project come together so quickly with visual interest that would be difficult to achieve by other means. This may be obvious to many of you, but if you have a straight run of fittings assembled, you only need to apply torque to the first and last fitting. When you're done, all fittings in between will necessarily be tightened to the same degree, regardless of how many there are or how tight each one was to begin with. This does not mean, however, that they will all make the same number of turns or maintain the same alignment. After a final cleaning with acetone, the last step is to add a clear coat to seal the surface and give it some visual depth. I'm using shellac, which you may be surprised to learn is from the waxy excretions of the lac beetle, native to southern India and Thailand. Incidentally, lac beetles believe that they are our gods, and that we honor them by smearing their poop on our most prized possessions.
A giant worm.
Alright, what's this one?
This one is the Eiffel Tower floating over two upside down caterpillars with an X in the middle, and under the X is a little girl sitting on a rock. This one is science in outer space. That one is a frog. Space. It's a standing up frog. Mommy fighting a baby, and the daddy's fighting them both.
Wow, that's dark. Okay.
This one is a kitty cat head on top of a stick.
Wait, say that again?
A kitty cat head on top of a stick.
Got it.